A moment of silence, please, for I am no longer undefeated in my fantasy leagues. Screw you, Todd Gurley. Grossi Posse Packer Nation, welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Grossi, and today we are looking at Week 4 fantasy studs and duds. That's right, and as I said in the intro, the good times have finally come to an end. In both Patreon leagues, I have been defeated. First, in the original Packcast League, I lost by 14 points because Todd Gurley only got me 4. And then in the second one, I lost by 10 points because Todd Gurley only got me 4. And, you know, I should have followed my own advice because I said before the season even started, guys you shouldn't draft was Todd Gurley. And I was sitting there at number 12 in both leagues, and I was like, but you know what? He'll be okay. No. And then Sean McVay came out this week and was like, we need to work with Todd Gurley more. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate that. And so if you're brand new to the show, what we do is we take a look at 3 potential studs, 3 potential duds, and usually a sleeper in there as well to help you win your Week 4 fantasy matchups. And so let's get on into it. The number first one, yep, speaking is a skill. The number 1 stud I have for you, Giants, wait, hold on. Someone on the Giants? It is a joke. Who played this joke on me? Who wrote this? Sterling Shepard. Yeah, wide receiver Sterling Shepard. And the reason being is because Shepard last week had 7 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. And so Daniel Jones obviously has replaced Eli Manning. And so they're going to need some targets, especially with Saquon Barkley out. You know, Daniel Jones probably going to get a lot done on his feet. I know I picked him up in one of my leagues because I was hurting after the Drew Brees debacle injury. And so I think Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram are going to turn into some really nice targets for Daniel Jones if the last week was indicative of Jones's future targets. But I think that he's a pretty safe bet. They're against the Redskins, who don't have a whole lot of anything going on. I think they're a pretty safe bet this week. Then number 2, LA Chargers quarterback Philip Rivers. Went 31 for 46, 318 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. But it's not just Philip Rivers. I'm going to kind of cheat here and say if you have Eckler, if you have their defense, hell, if you have their kicker, yeah, start everybody who's on the Chargers this week because they're going against the Dolphins. If you haven't been able to tell, basically any team that goes against the Dolphins, you should start people on that team because they're going to put up lots of fantasy points because the Dolphins are flat out terrible. And so Philip Rivers should have a great week this coming Sunday, and so I highly recommend playing Mr. Rivers. And then number three, while he only had 19 yards last week, had 2 touchdowns, and that is my man, running back for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Jones. Now, only had 10 carries, and Williams had 12 carries, and LaFleur said that they wanted to even him out a little bit, and they did, but I think it's still pretty clear that Jones is the number 1 back there going against a beat-up Philadelphia defense on a short week. I think they're going to want to get Aaron Jones involved early, and I think he'll be able to make a pretty big difference in the game. And so I would be very comfortable with playing Aaron Jones here, considering previous running backs who have gone against the Eagles have done pretty darn well. Then for our sleeper-ish of the week, who is kind of more into the stud territory, that is Tyler Lockett. Now, Tyler Lockett for me is a guy that I always stayed away from drafting because he had the ultimate boomer bust potential, but it was usually bust. But last week really kind of came and took over the game. 11 receptions, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, and they're playing the Cardinals this week. You know, obviously the Seahawks losing against the Saints. The Cardinals are a much worse team than the Saints, even when they have Teddy Bridgewater as their starting quarterback. And so I think Lockett is going to have himself a game. I don't trust their backfield enough yet, but I think that Tyler Lockett should be a safe bet, especially in PPR leagues. Then moving on to the duds. The duds, and not milk duds, because death. And that's number 1, Frank Gore. Now, Frank Gore, last week, 14 for 76, had a touchdown, but yeah, I don't think he's going to be doing that well against the New England Patriots this week. The Patriots defense has yet to let up a touchdown this season. They have just been on an incredible run, and Frank Gore going out there in a wheelchair. Yeah, I don't trust that at all. Considering the Patriots held Le'Veon Bell to just 35 rushing yards, yeah, I wouldn't trust Frank Gore this week. So my condolences if you have to play him. Then moving on to number 2, and that is Darryl Williams, the running back from Kansas City. Now, really, the only reason why he's getting a lot of touches is because Damian Williams is out. LaShawn McCoy got a little bit knocked up as well, but he got pregnant. He got a little dinged up, but it seems like LaShawn McCoy might play. Damian Williams, it's still a question, but I don't feel totally comfortable starting Darryl Williams in that they're going against the Lions. I know Mike Daniels is injured, but their front 7 is still pretty darn good, and they've held running backs in check. And so, you know, if you're thinking about picking him up on the waiver wire, like if you're really desperate, just have some caution before you play him because it might not go well. And then number 3, speaking of terrible Dolphins, that is running back Keenan freaking Drake. Yeah, this season, people were like, oh, he's going to be pretty good. 69 total yards this season, 0 touchdowns. They're playing the Chargers this week, so, you know, he could get some points, but yeah, I'm done with Keenan Drake. I'm done. Yeah, we're done. We're done with the Dolphins season. I don't trust him at all. I don't trust anybody on the Dolphins to put up decent fantasy points. And so here, I'm just going to say don't play anybody who's actually on the Dolphins team. Play everyone who plays the Dolphins, but not plays for the Dolphins. And so those are my studs, duds, and sleepers for the week. How did you do in your fantasy league? Well, you know, if you were in mine and you played me, you know, you won. You can thank Todd Gurley for that, though. Yeah, you know what? He's a dud for all time. For all time, Todd Gurley. Unless I win the championship, then he's good. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, YouTube, and of course, oh wait, I already said YouTube. And then you could check out patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy if you would like some cool rewards and to support me. It's much appreciated. But thank you so much for watching. We will be streaming the Packers versus Eagles tomorrow night, so you know where to tune in. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.